I did nothing wrong, says Minister Burke. The opposition says it's not satisfied. In advance of the new tribunal, the Taoiseach deplores low standards in high places. Will he or won't he join the talks? David Trimble still isn't saying. And Cascarino turns on the style and keeps Irish hopes alive. Good evening and welcome. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ray Burke, has said the issue of a donation of £30,000 he received in 1989 is now closed. Speaking after he made a personal statement to the Dáil, Mr Burke said anyone who had anything to ask him had the opportunity to do so today. During his speech, he said, with the benefit of hindsight, it was clear that in accepting the contribution, he had exposed himself to the risk of being the subject matter of what he called malicious allegations. But he said any allegations that he had done anything wrong were completely untrue.
I've come here today to defend my personal integrity, the integrity of my party, of this government, and the honour of this House. I've also come here to reassure the public, and in particular my constituents, that I have done nothing wrong.
Ray Burke's opening words in the most crucial statement of his long and sometimes controversial political career, following months of speculation that he had received up to £80,000 in campaign contributions from a builder and hints that favours had been delivered in return. He emphatically denied all the allegations.
For the record, I have never done any favours for or made any representations to anyone on behalf of JMSE, Michael Bailey, Bovale Developments Limited or Mr James Gogarty, either before or since 1989.
He confirmed he had received an unsolicited political contribution of £30,000, that there were 3 persons present at the meeting where the money was handed over in cash in 2 sealed envelopes. But he said there was nothing illegal, unethical or improper in the transaction.
Could I just ask the Minister, and I just begin to wonder if we live in different worlds completely, but did the Minister not have any sense of something remotely odd about 2 gentlemen arriving with £30,000 in cash? Did they actually say it's £30,000 in cash, or did they just hand you a wad of money? Did you not for one moment think of the implications?
I have already indicated that it was an exceptional sum of money to receive, and probably in hindsight, as I've already said also, I left myself, as anybody else could, to the type of allegations that have been made. And in hindsight, it shouldn't have happened as far as leaving yourself open is concerned. But there were no rules in place in 1989 in relation to subs.
Did this size of donation not cause alarm bells to ring in his head when he counted it subsequent to the departure of Mr Gogarty?
Following the receipt of this money in cash, did he at any time since the receipt of that money in 1989 lodge monies in overseas bank accounts?
I have bared my soul to this particular House today, and I find that particular question offensive in the extreme.
Ray Burke faced opposition questions for an hour, and this was how he summarised his position.
I'm being judged on 1997 rules for a contribution that was received in 1989 when there were no rules in place.
Fine Gael has said it's not fully satisfied with the explanation from the Minister. Other opposition parties have also said they're unhappy with Mr Burke's statement. The Progressive Democrats said Mr Burke had answered questions and no new allegations had been made.
This afternoon's Dáil statement and question and answer session by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ray Burke, was eagerly awaited, not only by opposition deputies but also by his government colleagues. Afterwards, Mr Burke said as far as he was concerned, he'd answered all the questions and the issue was now behind him.
I made a 20-minute speech and I made myself unprecedented in the history of this state. As a member of the House, I made myself available for questions from members for an hour on any issue they wanted to ask. As far as I'm concerned, that's a line in the sand. To now, I have to get on with the job that the Taoiseach gave me, that is to build on the peace process, to get into the substantive negotiations. whatever allegations, whatever cranks, whoever comes out of the woodwork,
investigations,
whatever comes out of the woodwork from now on, the line is in the sand. As far as I'm concerned, from this day on is D-Day. I move on to peace process, to United Nations, to Europe, and no further. Anybody that had anything to ask had the opportunity in Leinster House to do it today, and I've no doubt that the representatives of the people of Leinster House would have had plenty of stories given to them by every crank in Christendom. But from now on, we move on to the positive business on behalf of the people of Ireland. No more scapegoats.
So Mr Burke may have drawn a line in the sand on the affair, but the opposition still say he has more questions to answer.
I think the attitude of the ordinary member of the public will very much be that it's quite extraordinary that here is a senior politician who has £30,000 given to him in cash by a stranger, and he asks no questions. Why am I being given this for political purposes? Makes no further contact with that stranger, never contacts his company. So I think there is some degree of incredulity with regard to the manner in which he dealt with this issue, which I think raises questions about his judgment.
Well, he clearly was under an awful lot of pressure, and none of us enjoyed that, I have to tell you. We are looking in some detail at what he actually said, because I think because of the distress under which he was, his answers were somewhat convoluted and meandering, and we're not sure that all of the necessary information that is needed to dispel any concern that is in the public domain has in fact been given.
I don't think that there were specific answers forthcoming in terms of why he should be the recipient of such a very large donation by a person unknown. He circumscribed himself by saying he wouldn't answer questions about contributions other than this particular donation, and therefore I think that we're still at a loss to understand why it is that somebody unknown to him should contribute such an inordinate amount of money and expect nothing in return.
We'll be looking for more answers, because if you saw what happened there, most of the talking was done by Ray Burke, and it was as if Ray Burke was actually filibustering. We would like, questions answered now at this stage, and what we'll be looking for now is the terms of reference to be broadened to include an investigation into Mr Burke.
The Taoiseach has warned that